This morning on DC News Now, the monumental move facing another hurdle. The Washington Post reporting Virginia lawmakers removing the arena from the state budget.
What is next for the plan to bring the Capitals and Wizards to Virginia? But also ahead tonight is the State of the Union. What you could expect from President Biden and how this could impact your travels. Jackie, though, we're going to get a little break from that rain and the sun is already out.
Yeah, we're already starting to notice some breaks in the cloud cover. That rain has fizzled out. Drier conditions will prevail through the day today. More details on that coming up.
And the window to score cash from court settlements is quickly closing. We're helping you get your hands on some of that money.
You're watching the station covering all of the DMV. This is DC News Now.
Coming up on 8 o'clock, and all eyes on the Capitol as preparations underway for tonight's State of the Union address. The roads are closed. Security fences are up. We'll have more on the State of the Union coming up in our newscast. But first, we want to say good morning. Thanks for kicking off your Thursday with us. I'm Tosin Fakile.
Yeah, good morning to you. I'm Corey James. Happy Thursday and Friday Eve to you. Shanika Grimshaw is keeping an eye on the roads this morning to get you out the door if you haven't left. But Jackie's also monitoring the conditions out there, and some good news for you. If you've been tired of that rain, the sun's out.
Yes, we're finally starting to notice the breaks in the clouds, and that sunshine is peering through, and we'll see that on and off through the day today. All that rain that we did see yesterday is now exiting. Any lingering shower we saw earlier this morning has fizzled out. Temperatures right now, those are gradually starting to warm up right now. We're already into the mid-50s. DC and Manassas coming in right at 56 degrees. Eventually, you will notice those 60s returning later on today. We'll see a northerly wind, and we'll see that picking up between 10 to 15 miles per hour. Highs today, low to mid 60s across the region, and really depending on how much sunshine we do see today, I could see some areas mid to upper 60s later on. Shanika, what's the latest on the roads?
All right, well, you're getting a lot better out there on some of your major roadways. 270 heading southbound. It's frozen, but it's getting better. We had crash activity to the right near 109, and as you can see, that cleared. So let's flip over to the maps. So looking at 270 overall, so you're going to see some green spots, some yellow, some red there, on and off. Nothing's perfect. Then off of 270, we are dealing with a crash and a closure. That's along Buckystown Pike in Frederick, right between English Muffin Way and 270. So both directions, you will see some delays there surrounding that area and that closure. Overall, you can see a lot of red. Now's the time of the day, top of the 8 o'clock hour. So you're seeing topside delays past 650 and throughout Prince George's County as well.
Shanika, thank you. For now, plans to move Capital One Arena from D.C. to Alexandria are on hold.
That's according to a report from the Washington Post that says Virginia lawmakers will not fund a new arena this fiscal year. DC News Now's Candace Cole joins us live from Alexandria. Candace, good morning.
Good morning. Well, according to that report, the Virginia Senate Finance Committee is not planning to include plans to erect a new arena pushed by Governor Youngkin as part of its budget that's due out this afternoon. Now, this is all happening as Monumental has been in an ongoing dispute with D.C. over cutting its land use agreement short. In a post on X last night, Virginia Senate Finance and Appropriations Chairwoman Louise Lucas posted a meme of herself at a tombstone, essentially saying RIP to the, quote, $5 billion arena deal, although backers say the cost is actually around $2 billion. Now, Youngkin will have to submit an amendment or a standalone bill for Virginia lawmakers to consider during a future session to try and save his arena plans. That's unless there's a last-minute reversal on this before the General Assembly adjourns Saturday. But Virginia House Speaker Democrat Don Scott hinted that there may still be hope for the deal. He told the Post, quote, "There have been several conversations back and forth. It's not final until it's final." This all unfolded as the city of Alexandria sought last night to engage concerned residents who've been skeptical about the plans to build a new entertainment district in the area, which would include the proposed arena for the Wizards and the Capitals during a pop-up event at Potomac Yard Metro Station. Some raised concerns over the amount of money being spent on bringing professional sports teams to town over funding the needs of Virginians. And a non-binding agreement has also been reached to allow the Wizards and the Capitals to leave downtown D.C. by 2028. That's also according to the Post. Reporting live in Alexandria, Candace Cole, D.C. News Now.
Candace, thank you. Time right now is 8:03. Developing now, a man is dead and 2 others hurt after a shooting in District Heights, Maryland. Prince George's County Police say the man was found inside the stairwell of an apartment near Donald Drive and Pennsylvania Avenue. They say only one of the 2 other victims taken to the hospital was shot. Both are being treated for non-life-threatening injuries. So far, no arrests have been made. Staying in Prince George's County this morning, police are searching for these 2 people you see in this video. They are accused of sexually assaulting a woman in Hyattsville Monday night. Officials say the suspects followed the woman on Acre Road before grabbing her, threatening her with the knife, and then sexually assaulting her in the woods. If you have any information about the people in this video, you're asked to contact police. The founder of a local LGBTQ+ nonprofit is in custody.
Yeah, Ruby Corrado, founder of Casa Ruby in D.C., is accused of stealing more than $150,000 in COVID relief funding. Corrado's business provided housing, food, and other services to the LGBTQ+ community. Investigators say Corrado used the money for her personal bank accounts instead of paying her employees at Casa Ruby. A former employee told DC News Now Corrado's arrest feels like redemption.
I walked out of that office on December 10th for not being paid for like 9 weeks. I was done, and I screamed at the top of my lungs the things that were happening there. I'm just overwhelmed. Finally, there are consequences.
Corrado faces bank and wire fraud and money laundering charges. If convicted, Corrado may face more than 30 years in prison. And D.C. police arrested a 3rd person involved in the killing of a 10-year-old girl on Mother's Day. Ariana Davis died last May after being hit by a stray bullet while riding in the car with her family in Northeast D.C. Police charged Charles Owens with first-degree murder. 2 other men are also facing first-degree murder charges.
Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin is endorsing former President Donald Trump for president.
And Youngkin announced his support for the former president yesterday, just after Super Tuesday, when Trump won Virginia's GOP primary. Youngkin released a statement emphasizing party unity, saying, quote, "It's time to unite around strong leadership and policies that grow our great nation, not 4 more years of President Biden." 8:06, and tonight President Joe Biden gives that State of the Union address to a joint session of Congress.
And as you can imagine, he is hoping to use this speech to lay out his vision for a 2nd term. National correspondent Trevor Shirley is live this morning with the latest.
Hey there, good morning to both of you. And tonight's speech is going to be a critical moment for President Biden. He's going to be giving that address to an American populace that's increasingly skeptical, according to polls, of his ability to carry out the duties of the office. Now, as I mentioned, this is going to be a critical moment for the president. It's potentially the last time before November that he'll have such a large audience for a single event. Tonight's State of the Union will be the 3rd one for the president, coming now as it appears he's set for a rematch against former President Donald Trump in November. The president will likely use tonight's speech to remind Americans of what he considers his successes so far and pitch himself as deserving of a 2nd term. However, polling shows the president is increasingly unpopular amongst the general public, especially on his handling of the economy. The White House says tonight's address will be a chance for the president to paint himself as a proven alternative to former President Trump, who has with a strong vision for the country, while Republicans are already saying the speech won't make up for the president's failings.
The president has always been an optimistic person, as you all know, and even in the face of challenges that we have in front of us, he will share why he is hopeful about this country's future.
Of course, the State of the Union is not strong, and everybody around the country knows it, and everybody in this room knows it.
And that speech gets underway tonight at 9 o'clock over at the Capitol. That's the latest here from Capitol Hill. We'll send it back to you guys.
All right, thank you, Trevor. And with tonight's State of the Union comes road closures here in the district. This map here shows you the streets around the Capitol that'll be closed today. The streets marked in green closed at 6 this morning. The streets marked in yellow close at 1 this afternoon. And those streets in red and blue close at 5:30 and 7 p.m. respectively tonight. And over in Virginia, Fairfax Bus Connector service will resume tomorrow. This comes after Fairfax Connector union workers and Transdev have reached a deal ending the 13-day strike. Fairfax Connector released a statement yesterday apologizing to their customers for the inconvenience. And the union workers calling the new contract a win. They say it guarantees retirement security, competitive wages, along with many other priorities.
Time right now is 8:08. A Fairfax County father is facing manslaughter charges in the death of his 4-month-old son. Back in June of last year, police responded to Americana Drive in Annandale for reports of an unresponsive baby. The baby died after being taken to the hospital. Medical examiners later found narcotics in the baby's system. Police also say they found drug paraphernalia in the home. Yesterday, the father, 37-year-old Shane Fry, was arrested. In addition to manslaughter, Fry is also being charged with felony child abuse. He is being held without bond.
New details this morning on the case against a former Loudoun County Public Schools Superintendent, Scott Ziegler. Yesterday, a judge set aside Ziegler's guilty verdict and ordered a new trial for Ziegler. He is convicted last year for firing a teacher in retaliation for testifying against him to a grand jury. The misdemeanor was the only conviction from a high-profile investigation of the Loudoun County school system. The judge says there's evidence to charge Ziegler, but quote, faulty jury instructions made that conviction illegitimate. A hearing for the new trial set for the end of this month. And over in Maryland, the General Assembly there considering a resolution to support a long-term ceasefire in Israel and Palestine. The resolution calls for an immediate end to the fighting, the return of all hostages, and humanitarian aid for Palestinian people in Gaza. Right now, it's being reviewed by a House committee.